What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to The Order. Combat in Marvel's Midnight Suns can seem overwhelming at first glance, especially for players who aren't accustomed to the strategy necessary in tactical RPGs. So I wanted to provide a few quick but essential tips for how to approach each combat mission in the game and the things you should always keep an eye out for. If you're new to The Order and as much of a Midnight Suns fanatic as I am, be sure to subscribe to the channel for plenty of Midnight Suns content and insight, as well as follow me over on Twitch, where I'm streaming the game live at launch and beyond. Okay, so let's start with something that is really going to help you understand how combat works best, and that's your ability to preview your abilities. What I mean by this is when you select an ability card, whether that be an attack, skill, or heroic card, or an environmental object, and hover over your intended target, you will get an immediate overview of everything that will happen when you deploy that ability to that target. In this image, as an example, you can see the hunter making use of an environmental attack on the enemy team. Here you see the number of heroism required to use the attack, the damage it will do, the cone of effect it will impact and the enemies it will collide with, the knockback effect on those enemies and where they will land, with the skulls indicating that this will be a KO on these enemies. All of this information is readily available to you before you actually initiate the ability, allowing you to plan out and ensure that this is what you want to do before you do it. Make use of this knowledge before the use of every ability or environmental attack. It is arguably the most essential tool of any and all combat scenarios. Next up, redraws. They are your friend. While some characters like Iron Man and Wolverine require the use of redraws for core character mechanics like buffing certain skills or even healing, your predominant reason for using redraws is to better your hand. Redraws discard a card from your hand and replace it with another card in your deck, with the previous card sliding back into your deck. The reason for why you'd want to use a redraw is obvious. You want to get the most out of each turn, so if there's an ability in your hand that doesn't really benefit you now, whether it be a healing card early in a mission, or you've got one card play left and the ability in your hand requires way more heroism than you have to spend, redraw it for a chance at getting a card that could provide you with more immediate benefits, keeping in mind that the redrawn card will always come back later if you need it. If you've got a card sitting in your hand that requires proper setup or a combination of cards in order to get the most out of it, don't just let it sit in your hand taking up valuable real estate. At the start of every turn, your hand will be refilled with up to 6 cards, so if there's a card still in your hand, that card won't be replaced until you either use it or redraw it, so don't let your redraws go to waste. I mentioned this before in a previous video, but it bears repeating. Enemies give away who or what they intend to target on their next turn, indicated by the icon hovering above their head. This goes for both heroes and in certain missions, objects you're meant to protect. You must pay attention to these indicators at all times. If a more vulnerable member of your team is being targeted heavily by the enemy group, you'll need to ensure that you can either thin out the enemy rank as much as possible, or taunt their attention away from the vulnerable character with a tank character. Prioritizing targets by who they are targeting is a vital approach to combat. When assessing the battlefield on each turn, keep an eye on who or what the enemy has their sights on and respond accordingly. Another thing to keep an eye on when assessing the enemy group are minions. Minions are the weakest members of any enemy team and are identified by the fact that they do not have a health bar above their head. This means they can be eliminated with any damage taken. But don't underestimate minions, as most missions involve multiple waves of reinforcement groups who can stockpile damage if not dispatched quickly. Quickly being the key word. A great approach to dealing with minions is to utilize ability cards that have the quick condition. Quick means that your card play will be refunded if it KOs an opponent. Quick cards are a great tool to have in your arsenal when you need to dispatch a low health elite or minion enemy, as it allows you to instantly get that card play back and use it on another ability, maximizing the amount of options on every turn. Lastly, KYO. Know your opponent. When hovering over certain elite enemy units and above, You'll get an indicator on the left-hand side of the screen showing any and all passive abilities or conditions they may possess. It is vital to pay attention to these before attacking, as there may be an enemy unit you want to avoid doing damage to, or certain damage to, or you may simply need to strategize around this condition to best make use of your attacks. A great tactician assesses the battlefield before making a move, and your success in Midnight Suns depends on your ability to read each situation and properly prepare to deal with anything and everything thrown your way. So those are a few essential tips to help you get through many of the combat scenarios in Marvel's Midnight Suns. If you found this video at all helpful, be sure to hit it with a like and let me know in the comments below if there's anything you'd like to see me cover next. I will continue to put out more videos after launch and beyond, covering any and all angles regarding combat and, well, everything in Midnight Suns, so be sure to subscribe to the channel for more. Till next time, have a good one.